So it is a special group that Muffet McGraw brings here to Atlanta. And those 5 starters, such a great wealth of experience with this team. As you mentioned, 4 coming back. And then, oh, by the way, you add Brianna Turner, who missed all of last season with injury. Toyota starting lineups for both teams. And if it's experience for Notre Dame, it's just the opposite for Michelle Joseph and Georgia Tech. It's a very young group for the Yellow Jackets, but some talented young players, perhaps none more so than the 2 freshmen you see right there, Elizabeth Balagoon and Elizabeth Dixon in the starting 5. Marike Ogunbowale leading the ACC in scoring. No matter how good she's been, keeps finding a way to get better. Georgia Tech takes the ball to start this one. They are perfect on their home floor. 6-0 so far this season at McCamish Pavilion. There's Balagoon, 2-time ACC Rookie of the Week. Already hits the first shot. Good start for her.
We talked to Coach McGraw yesterday. She said she won't know if her team is ready until the opening tip. And if it's the way that just happened right there, Georgia Tech off to a very good start. Nice to see Balagoon get started early.
Ogunbowale. Jessica Shepard, and it's off the fingertips of Jackie Young. Notre Dame coming in with an explosive offense, one of the best in the country. They average 90 points per game. Ranked number 2 in the country. Could see that go up with UConn's loss to Baylor. Good ball movement that time by the Jackets. Kira Fletcher, not quite the friendly role she was hoping for, but she will go to the free throw line.
Kira Fletcher, a really improved player from last season. She started every game as a freshman and has come in now in her sophomore season and just picked up where she left off. And she's become more of a floor general. She gets to the basket really well, like you just saw right there. And this is a tough team. I'll tell you what, they can play physical inside, and it really starts with their point guard, Fletcher.
Same starting 5 for Michelle Joseph all season long. So she likes what she's seen from some of these new young players. But Fletcher, an important part. Alley-oop, not going to quite go that time. As it's quickly down the floor the other way again for Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech applying pressure early, that full court press with Balagoon on the top. And they force Notre Dame into a sloppy pass.
Kubai turns it over on the other end. Lorella Kubai, one of those returning players for Georgia Tech. And one that Michelle Joseph told us before the game that both she and Fletcher were going to be really important to how this team plays.
And I think you've got your players that are going to continually step up. You've got Kahn, you've got Balagoon. Dixon has been playing really well. Shannon Scott off the bench too, but it's those complementary players, I think, that if they can have a good game, Georgia Tech has to feel good about their chances.
There's the other Elizabeth, freshman in that starting 5. Her shot wouldn't go down. And Georgia Tech, a tremendous rebounding team, couldn't get it that time. Here goes Mabry with her left hand, and it's in.
Hard to stop Marina Mabry in transition. She can spot up for the 3, so you've got to be watching that on defense, but she will take you off the dribble and get to the bucket.
Kahn broke free along the baseline. Now Balagoon being hounded defensively by Mabry.
Notre Dame, you will see this 2-3 zone probably for 40 minutes in this game. They have been really comfortable in this zone and played really good defense out of it.
Kahn had to take the shot. She did, and the offensive glass pays off for Dixon.
And if there is a setback in the 2-3 zone, it's getting those rebounds, and that's what you see right there. The backside rebound, Georgia Tech does a great job of getting in position.
Shepard tracked down the rebound.
Georgia Tech had 23 offensive rebounds against Boston College in the game on Thursday, and that is the reason why they do a great job doing their homework on the front end, getting to those places where they get those easy looks at a second chance.
Both teams coming off victories in their ACC openers on Thursday night. Balagoon hits another.
Already now 2 really great mid-range shots for Balagoon. She reads the defense very well, finds her spots within their offense.
Young from the elbow.
Jackie Young, the most recent member to the 1,000-point club at Notre Dame. And she is a player that can just turn it on offensively. She'll do what she needs to for this team, but she had 32 points in that UConn semifinal last year, and that was really the difference in that game, getting them to the final against Mississippi State.
Big game Jackie earned the nickname as she stepped up a number of times. That shot clock is winding down again. Georgia Tech having some trouble finding a good look. They wanted Pond on the baseline, turn it over. Pond got a hand to it. Ogunbowale eventually corrals the basketball. She's driving, dishing. Easy two on the other side for Shepherd.
Notre Dame averages 19 assists a game, and this is a team that plays better together than I've probably ever seen in Notre Dame's history, or really even in the women's basketball game. They can find each other so well, and in transition, they are deadly.
Pond has been active along that baseline. Hasn't paid off for her yet. Mabry sees the three and hits it.
And that's what we mentioned earlier, why she's so hard to guard in transition, because she's just solid from all ends of the floor. Three-point shot, mid-range game. She's so tough going to the basket as well.
Has hit 50% from the three-point line in the last 6 games. Balogun wanted the answer.
Arike Ogunbowale in transition, finding Jessica Shepherd for the easy look. That was what Coach Joe said that she was very worried about, was them in transition. And there you see another look, a three, that time from Mabry.
That three put Notre Dame in the lead. Mabry had 20 points on Thursday night in Notre Dame's win over Pittsburgh. One that saw the Fighting Irish put up 100 points. They were sending a bit of a message there as they started conference play.
And that's their 5th time in triple digits already this season. This is a team that can score from every position on the floor.
Ogunbowale, the pull-up, too strong. I tell you, I love the way Kira Fletcher rebounds for Georgia Tech. This is one of the tallest teams they've had as Pond hits the three. But all of them rebound, including Fletcher at 5'9".
Yeah, Fletcher, the leading returner from the rebounding category last season, and she is really just special from that point guard position, because she doesn't seem like a point guard in terms of her body and size. And a nice drive there by Young, finding the gaps in that zone.
Tight game so far as Georgia Tech started strong. Notre Dame found their way back into the game quickly. Here's Pond, just had that big three, driving this time. Ogunbowale looking to run. Mabry's there for the outlet, missed it. Mabry looking for her second three. Rebound pulled down by the 6'5" freshman Dixon.
We talked to Michelle Joseph before the game. She said she's most concerned about transition defense for her Yellow Jackets. And I'll tell you what, she said they're going to start sending 3 back. They may start sending 5 back if Notre Dame continues on this run. They are just finding open looks in transition.
Ogunbowale will be
maybe than they were necessarily to play Notre Dame, who is the defending national champ. And that says a lot about the youth on this team. And I think that could play to their advantage in this game.
They've certainly held Notre Dame at bay, at least so far. The Irish went on a 9-3 run to tie it up. Now Ogunbowale swings the lead back in favor of the visitors.
And Notre Dame now applying a little bit of pressure.
Both teams making some substitutions. It's one of them for Georgia Tech. Ludamai Lottinen in the corner, finds Kubai, who walked before she could get her shot off.
Good defense there by Notre Dame, collapsing on that post.
Turner running the floor with Shepherd. Gotten a couple easy looks from her teammates, said thank you very much, putting them away.
And that was transition on a dead ball there. That tells you how well Notre Dame gets the ball up the court and how quickly they find their players.
Jordan Nixon freshman number 0 in for the Irish. Shannon Scott also in for Georgia Tech as Kubai could not get past Turner. Ogunbowale slicing through the defense.
Georgia Tech has done a pretty good job of keeping Notre Dame to just one and done on the boards.
Lautinen, freshman from Helsinki, Finland. Now 8 on the shot clock for the Jackets. Scott, Kubai with the offensive board. Pon hit a big 3 earlier this quarter, Francesca Pon. That one a little strong, and look who was wide open, but still made the extra pass. Shepard now has 6.
And I really think that has been an area in Arike's game that has developed over this last season, is her ability to not necessarily take that shot, because obviously that could have been 2 for her, is to get her teammates involved, and her assist number has gone up year after year.
Kubai, tough task, working against Turner inside. Scott gets stuck. 3 on the shot clock.
How about the job Brianna Turner has done inside of just shutting down that post? She's had blocks. She's stopped the post on the block themselves, not able to get a shot off even in that possession. And that's what they missed last season. Man, they were good last season, clearly. But the insertion of Brianna Turner into this lineup, sitting in the middle of that 2-3 zone, she is a 2-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year. This is a player that will just stop an offense.
She's certainly given Georgia Tech fits. Their last couple of times in particular, they've tried to get anything up in the paint. Jackets have not scored in over 3 minutes now. Jackie Young picking up her 2nd personal. Ogunbowale had a very short rest on the bench. She's back. Danielle Patterson, 6'2" sophomore, also on the floor for the Irish.
Coach McGraw called Danielle Patterson the most improved player from last season. It'll be fun to get a look at her today.
Ogunbowale to Shepard. Had to work a little harder for that one with the defense, but does earn a couple of free throws.
And Jessica Shepard coming off a game against Pitt where she struggled from the floor. I think it's safe to say that 1 of 8. It's not something you normally see from her. She's so automatic inside, but nice to see her getting some shots to go in early on, and she's been a point of emphasis for this Notre Dame offense. She gets down the floor fast, and I think too we can talk about just the change even in how she looks from last season to this season. We got to talk with her a little bit yesterday during the shoot-around, and she had been talking to a pro scout, one of the pro coaches, and they kind of determined together what could she do to get better for next season, and her fitness was something that they mentioned. And she has, since September, she told us that she has lost 38 pounds.
That's incredible. And it's paying off. Finally, a basket for the Jackets on the other end. Malgun started hot and was a bit quiet since. She now has 6. And has Georgia Tech within 4. Nixon, highly touted point guard out of New York City. A bounce pass to Shepard. Boy, it's been there in this first quarter for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame doing a great job getting to the foul line, and that post-to-post pass is something Coach McGraw talked about yesterday, that she is wanting to make sure her posts really get the feel of each other inside, and a good pass by Patterson to find the open Shepard.
Notre Dame, we mentioned, just loaded in terms of experience. All 5 starters over 1,000 points in their careers. All 5 starters also shooting over 50% this season, which is a phenomenal number.
I've never seen that in all my years at women's basketball. I've never seen 5 players shooting over 50%. And it did just happen, I believe, in that Pitt game. Arike finally got over 50. I think she's right at 50. But this is, as a team, Notre Dame is shooting over 50.
How about that finish to the first quarter? Kiera Fletcher giving a little more life to Georgia Tech, pulls her team within 2. And through the first quarter, we have a ball game in Atlanta. Second-ranked Notre Dame coming on the road in the ACC. And Georgia Tech playing strong at home, keeping this a 2-point game as we get ready for quarter number 2.
Monday, the Wild battle the Canadians on Fox Sports North.
Beautiful day in Atlanta, Georgia today, and things looking pretty good inside McCamish Pavilion right now as well. Georgia Tech trailing Notre Dame by 3. Fighting Irish have won every matchup in the series history between these 2 teams, but the Jackets are hanging in there.
Yeah, and they're really doing a great job of trying to force Notre Dame. You know, the fast break, Notre Dame's got it. But once they're in their offense, if they can set up in that zone, they have done a much better job at making them take contested shots.
Ogunbowale, little strong. And then it's going to be a foul against Fletcher. That's her first of the game. Notre Dame, to this point, has really done most of its damage in the paint. That's where Ogunbowale was going again. Lots it in. Tough player that tried to work it inside. It will go the other way, though, for Notre Dame. Jordan Nixon, freshman, staying in the game for Muffet-McGraw. Now this is a player she's really excited about for the future. Very veteran senior-laden team this year for Notre Dame. There's one of those, not just senior, but graduate students in Turner.
Good job by Notre Dame there, spreading out their offense, making Georgia Tech play honest on that three-point line. It opens up Turner inside. And there's the look inside from Ogunbowale, finds Turner, and that is automatic inside. That is the player that will score, and she wasn't even defended on that last possession.
8 made field goals, 8 assists for Notre Dame in this game. Good hands on the backside from Fletcher, but Irish able to keep control. Ogunbowale wanted the dish. It was there. Kept it high for Turner. She's got 4. Largest lead of the game for Notre Dame.
And Ogunbowale just draws so much attention. She found that she was double-teamed and then saw Brianna Turner inside for the easy bucket.
It's a tough decision for a defender, isn't it? You don't want to let her get to the basket, Ogunbowale, but it's hard to step away from a player like Turner inside.
I mean, because right there, that shot will kill you every time from Ogunbowale, but that one inside from Turner is just as deadly.
Fletcher couldn't get around Nixon. Lutman walked. Crowd didn't like it.
I just like to see the aggressive play of both those guards. First you saw Fletcher, then you saw Lotman driving into the paint. That is how you disrupt a zone, is finding the gaps in that zone, forcing that inside to collapse, and then finding your shooters outside.
Expect to see a number of different defensive tactics from Georgia Tech in this game. Trying to make Notre Dame think a little bit. Ogunbowale had enough space to get the shot off. Foul away from the ball, however.
And this has been an area of concern for Coach Joseph. She said that her team plays physical. Notre Dame knows that Georgia Tech plays physical, but sometimes that foul trouble has cost them the game. That Dayton game where they lost by quite a few, and honestly, it was at the free throw line where Dayton was able to pick up that win.
Georgia Tech just 3 losses on the season. And figuring out that balance between being aggressive but doing it without fouling is certainly part of a learning curve for this young team this season. Pretty shot, nothing but net for Danielle Patterson, her first points of the game.
Nice to see that range from the post player, 17-foot jumper. Didn't even think about that one.
Shannon Scott. Into Kubai. To Jefferson. Redshirt freshman Jefferson taking her first shot of the game. Will stay under the basket for the Jackets. Both Balagoon and Dixon on the bench right now for Georgia Tech. Scott got a little too deep under the basket that time. Ogunbowale wants to run. Mabry was there for the 2.
Ogunbowale has made her day from the assist category. She is excellent in transition and then finding the open player. And how about the speed from this senior?
It's all happening at lightning speed, too.
And that time she got mad at Patterson for not passing the ball up to her in transition. And Mabry misses that 3. Notre Dame just not able to get that 3-point shot going so far.
Irish just 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. There's Dixon off the glass. Not sure she called it, but we'll count it.
Dixon's been a little bit quiet this game. Nice to see her get a shot going from outside, and that will also cause that defense to have to play her honest outside.
Shepard. Passing and the finishing both spot on.
I just love a team that plays with such continuity like this. Passing up the good shot for the better shot, and that's been Notre Dame all season long.
Jefferson. Kubai over to Scott from the baseline. Good rebound from Fletcher. Nearly had another one. Had it tapped away from her, and then Kubai fouls Mabry.
And the passing has been all to Notre Dame's favor in this game. Ogunbowale in transition. She's so difficult because you know she's going to score on you if you don't take her. So she's been finding the open player. Shepard gets the dish there from Nixon inside.
No field goals so far for Ogunbowale, but 5 assists. Georgia Tech last season, in the last meeting between these two teams, went toe-to-toe with Notre Dame really through 3 quarters. And trying to do the same here, but you get the feeling, Kelly, this is one of those moments Georgia Tech needs to keep this one within reach.
Yeah, they've got to do it in transition defense. It's just been way too easy for Notre Dame to get those buckets on the run. And it's been happening on missed shots and made shots and dead balls. Notre Dame just is getting up the floor so easily. You know, and if I'm Michelle Joseph, I wonder if you take off some of that three-quarter court press and just fall back into your defense.
Fletcher in some trouble in the corner. Shepard getting a little assist from her head coach as she was knocked toward the bench. Nine turnovers for Georgia Tech. Ogunbowale still the reason is the passing.
Well, they have 12 assists on 12 made field goals. That is an unbelievable number. And this is a team that just knows each other so well. You know, we've talked about the youth of Georgia Tech. Well, these are a bunch of seniors on the floor together that have played in these games just over and over. They know where to get the ball, where to pass it to set up their teammates.
ACC's leading scorer, Arike Ogunbowale, held in check so far, 0 for 7 from the floor. She does have 5 assists.
She draws a lot of attention on defense, and that's a credit to the way that she has played and the player that she is. And thankfully, she's been able to set up her teammates to get those easy shots.
Under 10 on the shot clock. She sees a lane. There's her first field goal, and she'll go to the free throw line.
She will beat anybody on that first step, and you see she just takes a little bit of time, reads the defense, and then gets to the basket, draws the foul.
First foul against Lorella Kubai on that drive. Some incredible numbers so far for Ogunbowale. Has a chance, if she continues at her current pace, averaging over 20 points per game, to walk out of there as #1 all-time in scoring for Notre Dame.
She just overcame the Ruth Riley, who was the center that I played with. She was in that 4th place position, just took her out of that position. She moved to 5, and obviously a lot of big names on that list.
You talk about 1,000-point scorers. Arike getting over 2,000 earlier this season.
She's been scoring in double digits since the time she came in as a freshman.
Françoise Diouf just came into the game, missed everything though, so shot clock violation will take that basket away from Shannon Scott.
Shannon Scott, the leading scorer off the bench for Georgia Tech. There is the pass inside, does not touch the rim, and therefore will be a violation. Notre Dame ball.
And the referees will come over and take a look at that last play. As Michelle Joseph, some emphatic words for her team on the bench. Although I'm not really sure Michelle Joseph speaks any words that are not emphatic. It's just who she is.
Well, she's certainly done a good job with this team. And it's tough to coach a young team. Practices are probably long. She has a lot of teaching to do, but this team has really responded.
Nixon averages over 20 minutes per game for Notre Dame. Ogunbowale saw Turner, hung in the air just long enough. 6 points in the game for Brianna Turner.
And the 6th assist for Arike.
A lot of substitutions on the floor right now for Georgia Tech. Elizabeth Balagoon has been on the bench for a while. Dixon hits the field goal. She has 6 now.
And a rare shot to fall over the outstretched arms of Brianna Turner inside. She has altered a lot of those looks.
Ogunbowale through traffic, no problem. And what you don't want to see if you're an opponent is for number 24 right there to start heating up.
And she's done it with her drives to the basket. Her three-point shot has not fallen today. And so what do you do when you haven't seen the ball go in from long distance? You get to the basket.
Ogunbowale back to Mabry. The pull-up. Too strong. Turner cleans up the glass. Look at the passing. I mean, that is a clinic right there, what Notre Dame just did in that offensive possession.
This is just a fun team to watch. What an incredible job they have done.
Notre Dame working the ball around, finding the open player. They are looking good.
The team that will be coming back in full force, and that is always the good news when you talk about youth for a team.
Michelle Joseph told us she knew her team was going to have to go through some growing pains, and the schedule did not do them any favors starting off with the preseason pick to win the conference yet again. When you think back to last season, too, Georgia Tech had Louisville really early and nearly beat the Cardinals. Good rebound that time from Dixon. 8 points for the freshman. Coming off a double-double in the last game. Turner. Now back out to Ogunbowale. Six on the shot clock for the Irish. Mabry didn't want it, passed it up to Ogunbowale, who is too strong. But a fresh shot clock now for Notre Dame.
Good defense here by Georgia Tech.
Mabry. That went off the foot of a Georgia Tech player, or the leg, so will stay with Notre Dame. There's Abby Prohaska, freshman out of Liberty Township, Ohio, comes into the game for the Irish. Turner, how do you stop that on the inbounds?
And she had Dixon on her, too. That was just really a matter of the defense being ready. And thankfully, the Notre Dame players had a little intuition between them, and Brianna Turner able to get that shot in.
Six points in the game for Balagoon, who's driving the baseline. She'll go to the free throw line.
Balagoon coming off that game against Boston College. She had 18 points and 17 rebounds. We haven't seen her really make her mark in this game yet. She's had some foul trouble, but I think if she can get going, especially coming into this second half of play, I think that this could be a different Georgia Tech team.
Reminder to stick around for the Hardee's halftime report. Get you some highlights from that Florida State North Carolina game. That was a great one earlier today. Also take a look around the rest of the conference. Balagoon, a 63% free throw shooter on the season, hits her second. And I think you're right, too, Kelly, with Balagoon averaging just under 15 points per game, leads the Jackets in scoring this season. A rather quiet and choppy first half for her. She spent a lot of time on the bench next to Michelle Joseph, so we'll see how she comes out in the second half and what kind of a difference that may be able to make. Notre Dame looking for the final shot of the half. Turner wanted it. And Georgia Tech will have 0.8 of a second to try to make some magic before that halftime buzzer sounds. Scott will launch the shot. Won't go down, so Notre Dame will just sound it. So here we go with half number 2 from McCamish Pavilion in Atlanta. Jen Hildreth, Kelly Deo, Notre Dame and Georgia Tech on the floor, and then a turnover, not the way the Jackets wanted to start the half.
But how about the way that the Irish came out in this half in man-to-man? Not something we've seen from them yet in this game.
They did such a tremendous job last season when they were forced in some ways to go to the zone with the injuries that they sustained throughout the season. Liked what they did with it and have used it a lot this season.
Yeah, they've become very comfortable with it. And you know, back in 2001 when we won the national championship, we essentially did that in a 2-3 zone. And so it's a defense she's comfortable with, and her players have adjusted.
Balagoon, really strong on the three. Kubai with the rebound. Lorella Kubai yet to hit a field goal in this game for Georgia Tech. Balagoon pulls up over Turner. It's going to be Notre Dame ball.
And that's exactly where Balagoon found her spots in the first half. We saw those 2 quick jumpers from her on that drive on the right side in that little short corner area. Just couldn't get that to fall.
And she picked up a couple of fouls, Balagoon, and spent some time on the bench. During that stretch in the first half, Notre Dame went on a 20-6 run. And Balagoon has just become such a huge part of this Georgia Tech offense in her first year with the team. Offensive foul that time, though, and that could be trouble. Mentioned those 2 fouls in the first half. She knows it. That's her third.
I wondered if that could have been a travel on Balagoon, but 3 fouls, and she will take a seat.
She'd prefer the travel at this point.
I would imagine. Michelle Joseph as well.
Marina Mabry Great leader for this Notre Dame team. Missed the first 5 games of the season with a quad injury. Ogunbowale over to Young. Nice look to find Shepard.
That was a pretty pass from Jackie Young to find Shepard inside.
14 points for Jessica Shepard to lead all scorers. Dixon over to Kubai. Up and over the front of the rim for her first points.
I'd like to see a little bit more offensive production from Kubai in this half. We mentioned it early. She and Fletcher were the names that Coach Joseph said had to have a big game, and she did not have a good first half.
Turner. It is all Irish fighting for that rebound. But it goes out of bounds and goes the way of Georgia Tech.
Notre Dame continuing to pass the ball so well as Young finds Shepard for the easy 2. Jessica Shepard, really my favorite player, I think, on this Notre Dame roster. And since she came on Notre Dame's campus last year, I think she's been the difference and was the difference in that championship season last year.
Transfer from Nebraska, who wasn't sure she would be cleared to play last season. Really came down to the last moment right before the first game. She wound up getting cleared, and what a difference she made. Good passing as Ogunbowale found Young.
And now assist number 7 for Arike. That number just continues to climb. She averages 3 a game, but this is a team that oftentimes has players up in that 7, 8, 9 range for assists.
Here comes Shepard, not afraid to run the floor. Mabry out in front of her.
I'll tell you, I'm a post player, and I just love it when a post can put the ball on the floor.
Although I do love when you brought that up to Muffet McGraw when we were talking to her yesterday. She said, "I don't love it so much."
And she does not. I can tell you that from experience.
Well, Notre Dame picking up right where they left off in the first half. This team plays together. They share the basketball, and they are extending their lead over the Yellow Jackets here in Atlanta.
You are the defending national champions, and you have a team that could do it again. And it's just putting together those pieces, and Coach McGraw certainly has that on this team. It's just, can they do that in the NCAA tournament?
Well, not much Pond could do there. The ball went off her foot. And it'll turn it over to Notre Dame.
And that's the 15th Georgia Tech turnover, as opposed to just 5 for Notre Dame.
You heard Muffet McGraw say that was the carrot to Dangles. Notre Dame has never won back-to-back national championships. This team, this veteran group, has a chance to do that. And that's something she talked to us about when I asked her what her biggest challenge was this season. And she said it was figuring out how to bridge that gap between how she coaches the seniors, got 4 seniors plus Turner, who's a graduate student, and then this talented freshman group that she has coming in who are different. They don't have the same level of experience and knowledge that those seniors do.
And at the same time, she's such a good coach that she's already looking to the future and trying to develop those young kids.
Turner is fouled under the basket. Brianna Turner had to sit in the rather unenviable position of being on the sideline and not being able to be with her team last season after her ACL injury in the 2017 NCAA tournament. And you talked about it a little bit earlier, Kelly, just what a boost she brings to add to this team to make it even better.
You know, and I asked her yesterday after the shoot-around, how do you feel? And she said, 100%. I always feel 100%. I'm always ready to go. And you love that about this kid. And I think that's such a hard place to be, is sitting on that sideline and having watched her team do what she's been wanting to do for so long. And so you imagine that she's going to do whatever she can to get her team back there.
You're trying to get her to dunk, though, let's be honest. That's what you really wanted to see.
I sure did. I had my camera out, and she was doing it. Not as probably, not like a jam like she probably would have wanted it, but that girl can sky.
Really a tough battle going on in the paint with these two teams. It's going to be an offensive foul against Turner. That's her second.
We heard Coach McGraw get upset at her team from the sidelines here, wanting Jackie to shoot that ball. They had set that play up for her to get a good look. And right now, Notre Dame only made one three-point field goal.
Started the game in the first half, 1 for 9 from 3. Balagoon up on the tiptoes, decided not to go for it. Passes to Fletcher. And Fletcher will head to the free throw line. When we come back, she had 4 points in the first half, trying to cut into this lead by Notre Dame. March 6th through 10th at the Greensboro Coliseum. You can win a VIP trip for 2 to this tournament. Package includes 2 tickets to all games, 4 nights hotel accommodations, hospitality access, and a parking pass. Go to theacc.com/WBBVIP for that, and Ticketmaster.com for tickets. Kira Fletcher at the line for Georgia Tech. Hit both of her free throws in the first half. Misses on that one. Fletcher coming off an 18-point performance in Georgia Tech's win at Boston College on Thursday. She now has 5 in this game.
And the defense from Notre Dame has really stifled Fletcher. Just 1 of 5 right now from the field.
No problem for Notre Dame that time. Getting the ball down the floor. And Michaela Vaughn, making her first appearance, gets a basket.
Nice to get her some quality minutes. This is a player, she's one of the 4 that had the ACL injury last year. And she's taken some time to get back. And as you do, there's a mental piece that you have to get over as a player. And she's done a very good job. And Muffet has been excited about her improvement.
Ogunbowale not taking anything off the pace or the flare on the assist, by the way. Vaughn just couldn't quite hang on to it. Francesca Pon, where has she been for Georgia Tech? Quiet in this game. And how Pon finds her place in this offense will certainly be something that they try to figure out for so long. She carried so much. Had a very different Georgia Tech team this year.
And because of that, I think she draws a lot of attention from defenses as well in every single game that she plays. So it's been nice for her to have those freshmen come in.
And Notre Dame really exploiting Georgia Tech, getting down the floor. That defensive transition, such a key piece for Michelle Joseph, and it's fallen off a bit as this lead continues to grow for Notre Dame.
We've seen that points in the paint number just continue to grow as Balagoon finally gets a 3-point shot to go. Just the second now for Georgia Tech.
Balagoon, the leading scorer for this Georgia Tech team, has the ball back in her hands. She's now in double digits with 10. Shannon Scott.
It's a game of runs, so if Georgia Tech can put together a nice string here, it could help the momentum.
2 players both cut to the same spot that time for Georgia Tech. One's up with a jump ball. You know, I do believe that is our first jump ball. How odd is that? If it's not the first, it's close to the first, and here we are in the third quarter.
Especially when you think about the physicality of both of these teams. Georgia Tech really known for the way that they're aggressive inside. As we mentioned earlier, fouls becoming a problem in recent games. Notre Dame can match that intensity as well.
Dubai had the ball just go right through her hands on the inbound. Mabry and Young working the fast break to perfection.
And Mabry almost getting a steal off that inbound.
Fletcher had to go up and over 2 players, couldn't get the basket. Won't go back to the free throw line.
You see the frustration in Fletcher as she missed that shot. You know, it's not often that we've seen Georgia Tech be able to get any offense going in transition. Obviously, the missed shot from Notre Dame allowed them to get on the run as well. Would have been nice to see that shot go down.
Fletcher, a member of the All-ACC freshman team last season when she started every game for the Yellow Jackets, averaged just over 7.5 points per game, led the team in assists. Good free throw shooter, too. 5 of 7 from the line in this game is Fletcher. It was a perfect 8 for 8 on Thursday night against Boston College. Shepard lost it to the double team, and then Notre Dame commits the foul. It will go against Jessica Shepard, her first.
Great job by Shannon Scott there. Gets her hands on the ball, knowing the ball's going to go into Shepard. They're in a man-to-man. That block has been open for Notre Dame, and Scott, good job with the quick hands.
Balagoon got her shot off, got it to go.
And you start to see her playing with a little more confidence. I think watching Notre Dame attack early on in this game really slowed her down a bit. And now you're starting to see more of the player that we have seen coming into this game.
Mabry unleashes the three. Fletcher didn't really have a lot of options. Called her own number. Kubai nearly bailed her out. Nixon could not get it around Georgia Tech player in front of her. Jordan Nixon named Miss New York basketball, best player in the state, McDonald's All-American her senior year of high school, where she averaged 22 points a game. Also won 3 national titles with her AAU team. Very seasoned freshman, if they have those.
You know, oftentimes when kids like that come in and play as freshmen, you can see that really take, you know, you see them play to a level of maturity that you don't often see with, you know, players that maybe did not have that kind of national attention. And Nixon has come in immediately.
Big bucket right there for Lorella Kubai. And the crowd going right along with her. She had the big fist bump after this finish.
Well, she drew some defense there. Mabry trying to double and then gets right over the arms of Shepard, draws the foul.
Second personal on Shepard. Shepard didn't see the option she wanted initially. Now Ogunbowale maybe got a little too fast even for herself.
And you see Mabry telling her teammates just to slow down a bit. They have this lead. They want to start running some offense.
Hahn. A good screen from Dixon. Took it all the way to the basket. Too strong. Quick pass up the court from Ogunbowale to Mabry. Oh, sometimes even when you say it a million times, it still gets caught up a little.
I'm surprised that was not called. Fletcher just running into Mabry there.
And then Kubai undercut on the other end. Ogunbowale will pick up the foul there.
Well, this is why that turned into transition. That pass immediately from Shepard to Ogunbowale, who finds Mabry quickly on the outlet. And that's something, when we were talking to Shepard about the weight loss that she has had and how that's changed her game, she said, when I can outlet to the wing like I can, you know, so quickly, she said, I've noticed a difference in my mobility in that one area, and it has really increased the efficiency of the Notre Dame transition game.
And that big pass from Ogunbowale, adding to a career day for her, by the way. Not in scoring this time, but she has double digits in assists, 10 of them. Best of her career. On the shot clock for Mabry. Had it poked away just at the last moment. Shepard nearly saved it, but it will go to Georgia Tech with 4 seconds on the clock. Hahn looking up at the clock. And be her to take the shot. Notre Dame rolling here in Atlanta. Arike Ogunbowale, maybe not the offensive game from a points perspective we're used to seeing, but how about a career-high 10 dimes for the senior? Fourth quarter coming up from Atlanta. The ACC season is upon us as we have 10 minutes remaining in this game, heading to the final quarter. Points in the paint and the way that Notre Dame has shared the basketball, certainly two of the things that stand out.
You know, and those points in the paint are mainly coming in transition. Notre Dame has been so effective. And then shots like that. Brianna Turner getting a great pass from Mabry inside for the easy bucket.
Orla Kubai came alive in that third quarter for Georgia Tech. That's an offensive foul, though, against the freshman Dixon. It's her first. Twelve points in the game for Dixon to lead the Yellow Jackets. Balogun has 3 fouls. Those two have both been named ACC Rookie of the Week so far for Georgia Tech. Ogunbowale driving, dishing it to Turner. And she hangs in the air so long you think surely she's going to shoot it. But no, still at the last second making that decision to pass.
And Georgia Tech is switching on all screens right now. So just trying to find the mismatch, I think, is what Notre Dame is doing. And that is going to be a mismatch anytime. If you have to defend Ogunbowale, no matter what position you are, 1 to 5, that is going to be tough to stop her.
She averages just under 23 points per game, or did coming into this game, to lead the ACC. Now has 8 in this game. Could go double digits right here. She's fouled. Excellent free throw shooter, too.
Gets to the bucket easily on the crossover, and then just padding her stats, because why not? Gets a steal here on defense, comes coast to coast, can't finish on this foul, but trying to get to double digits right here at the free throw line.
Had a lot of special moments last season, none bigger than those 2 buzzer-beating shots in the Final Four, but we're going to show you another off-the-court special moment, too, so make sure you stick around to see that. It was certainly a rock star type of off-season for Enrique.
Something that not a lot of people get to experience, and this player sure did. And the crowd really into it right now. Really good crowd, too, here at Georgia Tech. Obviously, that will happen when you're playing the defending national champions.
I think also this crowd recognizing this Georgia Tech team with all these young players. There's a lot of upside to be had this season.
And the future is so bright for the Yellow Jackets. Michelle Joseph talked about that at length.
10 underclassmen, 7 of them freshmen, as Pond commits the foul, her third.
And they lost 5 seniors last year, but returned 50% of their scoring, Pond being a big reason why that number was so high.
A rare empty trip to the free throw line for Mabry. Made the crowd happy. Not so much for the senior. She's still running the floor, though, with Ogunbowale. That you could see a little elevated on the foul. A lot of contact that time.
I could almost see this being an intentional foul. She grabbed her on the waist. They are not going to call it, though. Still the foul, but no intentional, as somehow Ogunbowale gets that one to go. Look at the grab around the waist. You know, you've got to be in, it's got to be a normal basketball situation. I think any foul where you are grabbing somebody's body part could be in question.
Ogunbowale hits them both, extends Notre Dame's lead.
1-2-2 matchup zone, slowing down this Georgia Tech offense. This is what you want in this situation, for them to start their offensive play under about 18 seconds, and Notre Dame was successful there.
Shepard commits the foul, her third. And it is these little details that will drive a coach crazy.
And this is a coach that loves the details. Man, if you do not get it, she will continually drill it until it is ingrained in you. And that's what makes her so good. Surpassed 900 wins just recently, sitting at 901 currently.
We might need to extend our congratulations for that. It's such an incredible accomplishment. Dixon working against Turner, just could not get around her. Muffet-McGraw getting that 900th win against Lehigh. Also a Naismith Hall of Famer. That's 9th all-time, those 900 wins, and she is the 4th fastest to ever get to 900. Of course, those 2 national championships, looking to add on to that number this season, knows she has the group to do it. Nails the 3.
The third 3 now by Georgia Tech. Wouldn't it be nice for Michelle Joseph and her club if they could get hot from outside?
Good movement off the ball from Shepard, and good vision from Young as well.
When they're coming off the double screen up top, the defense is so worried about that shooter, and Jessica Shepard sees the overplay and then slips the screen and gets right in there. Nice pass inside, good finish with the foul.
$18 points for Shepard. And if she was a bit cold in her last game, she's made up for it today. And just 1 for 8 from the floor, excuse me, Kelly, in that last game on Thursday.
Teammates really have set her up so well. You know, she's run the floor so well in transition, and then she's been able to receive some great passes.
Fletcher driving tough to the basket. And Vaughn stood her ground, the 6'3" sophomore out of Philadelphia, off the bench for the Irish. Nothing but net for Enrique.
Notre Dame has barely had to set up an offense in this game because that transition game has worked so well as Pond tries another one.
And really for both teams, it is about the details at this point in terms of what you'll take away from this game, both positive and negative, as Vaughn now has 6.
How about that points in the paint? 55-10 right now. And that's not just been from the post. That's guards as well getting in there. I mean, it's just automatic. This transition game is unstoppable.
Scott up to Balagoon. Up and over Shepard for 2. What has impressed you, Kelly, maybe not just today, but what you've seen so far from Balagoon this season?
You know, I like that she can score in so many different areas. She can hit this 3-point shot. She takes the second most on the team behind Pond. And then her mid-range game, which is what I think we've seen today, that has been really deadly. She can stop and pop. She's really good off the dribble. And she has such great size. You know, when you have a 6-foot guard who sits at the top of that press, you're going to get a lot of steals. And we haven't seen it today, but we've seen it a lot. You and I watched a lot of film getting ready for this game, and she was really good.
Well, we told you about some of those special off-the-court moments for Enrique Ogunbowale last season. We'll show you when we come back. Tournament and Final Four it was for Enrique Ogunbowale last season. Had that game winner against UConn and then bettered herself. Did it again against Mississippi State in the championship. And when you have moments like that on the court, you get to rub elbows with some pretty important people.
First of all, did you get one one of these ever?
Never.
No.
Never even came close to that.
Did you really not play college basketball?
Completely skipped it.
Really?
Yeah, skipped right over it. I've also never hit a game-winning shot at the buzzer to win a championship. You know, like, you gotta understand, that's like the picture-perfect moment. Like, as a kid, you dream about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to win the championship, and she actually did it.
Twice. Yeah.
Crazy.
I love Kobe putting it into perspective there of really just how magical that must have been.
And you have to know that Kobe is Arike's idol. I mean, she has grown up watching him play, named her dog after Kobe Bryant.
I think they brought a jersey for the dog
They
too,
did.
to the show.
They sure did. I mean, I think it's people's dream to be on Ellen, and then also to meet Kobe and to have that happen in one day. I mean, and she's had a lot of great things happen after that championship run. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She says her best memory, though, was winning that ESPY for best play last year. Had the whole team there, and it was just a special moment.
And I like, too, that when she went on Dancing with the Stars, she insisted on doing it in the sneakers. I'm telling you, that's my kind of girl right there. I
loved it.
that.
I loved it. She had some comments from the judges, I think, about that,
Yeah.
and then eventually got into some heels, I think, if you can call them that, maybe little mule heels.
Hey, you know what? Let's just leave the heels to her head coach. Muffet McGraw wears them very well on the side.
Oh, she is known for her shoes.
And her shoes got a little love last year, too. We'll show that to you if we get a chance in the national championship. Scott finding an opening for Georgia Tech.
So Notre Dame trying to trap out of that zone in the corner and just not communicating on defense, and just a wide open shot there for Georgia Tech. A lot of youth right now on the floor, and saw Muffet put her hands to her head. You know, that's probably going to be what it's going to look like. You know, when you think about every player on the floor right here will be returning next year. 4 seniors leaving. And this is a look at the future of Notre Dame. And it's bright. Great players.
Hahn pulls up in the paint off the glass and in. You know, I think a game that probably was circled on most people's schedule. Looming next for Notre Dame now, that matchup with Louisville. And you mentioned it earlier, Kelly, last season. Cardinals besting the Irish not once but twice. They put 100 on them during the regular season and then beat them in the ACC championship game. And now we could be looking at 1 versus 2 when the new rankings come out.
Of course, UConn losing to Baylor could move them up, but this is a game I know that Notre Dame they have taken very seriously. Although we asked Muffet yesterday, have you looked ahead to it? Nope, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think that's the answer she's supposed to give, and as are her players. But she said she doesn't like to look ahead and likes to live in the moment.
Well, certainly you understand that has to be the way, but, you know, coaches are wily. They're preparing for what's coming next. They may just not tell the team about
There
it.
you go.
Right?
There you go. You know, another game that I think the Mabry family will be circling on their calendar is that game on the 16th versus Virginia Tech, where both Mabry sisters, Dara Mabry and then Marina, will be able to play against each other. Dara, a freshman at Virginia Tech, having a terrific season, averaging 13 points.
Some basketball going on in that family, that's for sure.
Michaela, of course, played at Notre Dame earlier and graduated just a couple years ago.
Sits just ahead of her sister on the 3-point chart in the record books. Marina currently at 5th, Michaela just above her at 4th.
I wonder if all 3 got to play together in high school. I don't know that, if Dara was able to play up that much, but can you imagine that team?
One off the fingertips of Vaughn. Georgia Tech is trying to glean what they can here, weather the storm in this early part of the schedule. They've got some tough matchups coming up as well after this one. They go on the road to Louisville after a home game against Duke in their next game.
How about that defense? 2 consecutive blocks inside on Vaughn.
And there you see what's coming up next for Michelle Joseph. And I think she said it to us a couple of times before the game. We know it's a marathon, not a sprint, especially with a young team. She expects this team, if they do what they can, what she knows they're capable of, they can grow, they can be better, playing their best basketball a little bit later on in February. Khan trying to sneak it in there. Now she does. Notre Dame looking to make some substitutions. And Michelle Joseph, talk to us about her young team.
I think the tough thing is we've got a tough start this year, and the challenge for us is going to be our young kids not letting it knock the wind out of them in January.
That is what she has. They are so kind of attack mentality. They don't know that they need to kind of slow down because they're all just these young players who want to play as hard as they can, work hard, and she's been blessed with a really great bunch of freshmen.
Nixon gets her first points of the game. Danielle Cosgrove, Maureen Butler, two of the players who just checked in off the bench for Notre Dame. Getting some time here in this final minute. Louisville had a big win today as well at Duke. So the Stars indeed have aligned to make that a big-time matchup coming up on Thursday. A matchup that Notre Dame can now solely turn its attention to once they get past this one. The Irish's incredible dominance in this conference since joining. 78-3, their mark in ACC regular season play. And of course, one of those losses coming last season to Louisville. As this one winds down, we'll get ready to hear from a couple of Notre Dame players. The crowd likes a three before we finish from Georgia Tech. Had a little positive note to their first conference and home loss of the season. So we'll hear from a couple of the Notre Dame Stars when we come back. The Irish getting the win on the road.